The purpose of the Digital Town Hub is one platform for everyone to work together. The starting point for the overall picture is about powerful engagement tools. So we're trying to promote growth, social cohesion, and civic pride. We're trying to take advantage of the fact that people are genuinely proud to be from Canterbury and Coast. We're trying to make people feel like their opinion matters, that their voice is heard, that there's somebody listening, which would be the place managers. So all of the positive things that happen within communities, the starting point for all of that is about engagement. So we need to give those tools to local residents to be able to do that. The next part is data. So the platform will take in sources of data from different places. It'll take in data from footfall counters. It can take in data from transport, from weather, from all of these different sources that we can feed in and aggregate in one place. But as well as that, we can also create our own data that will come from stats that we gather on the users, things like what they're interested in, what kind of events they go to, what their movements are, what they spend their money on. And the most important part of the data picture is that it is owned by the community and on behalf of the community. So nobody's making any money from the data. It's not an Amazon, a Facebook situation where it's just being monetized elsewhere. It's very important for us that the data is owned by the place manager. In terms of the idea, the one platform for everything related to the place, that refers to one technical platform. So the feeds all come in under one hub, which is why we call it Digital Town Hub. And it is one location for the login, where we can access all of these tools, where we see the marketing opportunities, where we can see the data, etc. But it's also one brand platform for everything. And hopefully in time, the brand of Canterbury and Coast will become more and more familiar around the local area. Everyone will start to associate with it. Everyone will start to be attracted towards it. And it becomes the de facto go-to for everything related to Canterbury and Coast. Something that we've been really working hard on for the last couple of years is a digital high street, just with the idea that we want to keep as much money in the local economy as possible. We are aware that everyone is time poor, focuses on convenience as much as possible. We know that there are people within Canterbury and Coast. They shop online every evening for stuff, via Amazon and Shopify, etc. And that's products that are probably sitting on the shelves of local retailers. And the reason they do that is that it's just a little bit more convenient. So we would like to make it as easy as possible for local people who support local retailers to shop with them. And that's something that is it's coming. And ideally we want to encourage as much money to remain within the local economy as we possibly can. And then the last part is this connection between digital and physical infrastructure. What we mean there really is the IoT that I mentioned, the Internet of Things. The platform will take in data from physical devices, things like footfall sensors or air pollution monitors. So we're feeding this information into the hub, so we're understanding it. But in addition, we want to send information out to this physical infrastructure, the main one being digital screens. And that's something that's coming. Hopefully, once the hub is up and running, we will have some digital screens on the high street. And the bigger picture for that really is that data or content is entered into the Digital Town Hub. It then populates the app, it populates the website, it's visible on screens throughout the 3 towns and beyond. So anywhere we have the opportunity to put up a screen, we should be seeing the colours of Canterbury and Coast, we should be seeing the content of Canterbury and Coast. And as much as possible, we are just starting to really recognise that everywhere. And it's one system and it's tying all of this stuff together. And that's the whole concept behind it. So hopefully that makes sense in terms of what we are trying to achieve with the platform itself, the sort of the thesis behind it, the background to it. What I'll do now is I'll show you the access and the kind of tools that every business has. Rachel, can you just let me know, are you seeing the Canterbury and Coast Digital Town Hub now?
Yes, I am, yeah.
Great. Okay. Do you know what I'll do? I will log out quickly. So you'll see the login first. So sometime probably towards the end of this week, every business should receive an invitation, and the invitation will have a link to click on, which will direct you towards canterburyandcoast.lakiva.com. So you should see this this login page. You'll be invited to accept an invitation, add some basic details about your business, and then sign in. So I'm just going to do that and sign in. I'm going to sort of end up on the admin page here because I'm an admin. I'm going to go quickly to a business page, and you'll see what a business admin page will look like. I'll pick one at random just so we can sort of look at, so I can actually go into these accounts and have a look. So I'm going to go into 49 Mortimer Street Coffee just to have a look at that. So this is what every business account will look like. You have a dashboard. You'll see here we're on the dashboard page, and on the right hand side you'll see all the various different tools that we have available to us. So this first one is just going to be a summary, right? We're going to look at the active users, the business users, and the geo alerts triggered. It's just a sense for what's going on the platform. This will grow and grow and grow over the course of the next 3, 6, 12 months. The basic details of the business are here. So we can add, and the business will be encouraged to add the name if it's not already there, the company name, telephone number, website, etc. There will be a business profile. So every business is invited to add the details of their business effectively. In this case, we have already filled it out. Now, what Lakiva is going to do is we are going to fill out the profiles for every single business. The business then has the opportunity to come in and update them. If we haven't done enough of a job, if we haven't kind of got enough information in there, the business can go in and update their data. They can update all of their information, their pictures, their website links, all of that stuff. Google is going to find it. So when I type in the address here, I'll just do it quickly. 49 Mortimer Street. Google finds it, so you'll see that. So the information that we are taking is from Google. So if anyone says, well, you know, the information isn't correct, it's just taking what is already there on Google. It's taking the first image, so that's going to be the image there that you see that's on Google. These are going to be the opening hours. That's going to be the address, obviously. And it ideally, because we want to give as much exposure to the businesses as possible, we can add in a few extra pictures. So you've got the opportunity to upload, you know, a nice profile picture. Say, for example, if you're a cafe or food outlet like this one, you might want to have some pictures of what it's like on the inside of the shop. Obviously, you want some food photos, some drinks photos, etc. But the more exposure you have, there's no limit to how many you can add. And feel free to, yeah, just give your business as much promotion as you possibly can. The description is also quite important because every word that's in the description is searchable. So when an app user, for example, goes onto the app and they search for pizza or coffee or cookie, it's going to pick up the words that are in there. So the better description you have, the more chance that your business is going to be returned search function. And then we can add a website link, or we can add these options. So a menu, a price list, a voucher, as well as we can add booking contact details. So if you have a booking page specifically, or just a contact page, which could be either a web page or a telephone number, you add that in with no gaps for the telephone number if possible. And then that will also be visible. So if users are looking through your profile, they can just click a button to call your business directly. So obviously getting residents in touch with the business is a bit quicker. And then the last part is a video. So if you have a video on YouTube, and at this point we only have the option for YouTube, and you can add a video and then add the link to it. Ideally, it would be like a promo video for your business, a bit of an overview, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, just to, you know, give the details, some nice imagery. Here's what we are, here's what we're all about. And then when the user clicks on the business profile, there's a little play button, and they can start playing that video and see a bit more about the business. So that is within business profile. The next one is, and sorry, I should say, every one of these sections has a little tutorial video. So if you're not sure about anything, you're like, what was that thing he said again? You can always watch the tutorial video, and it'll hopefully make a bit more sense. In employees, I think we need to rename the word employees, because it's not only employees. Really what this is anyone who wants an account on the business account. So you could add an employee, you could add your manager, you could add your supervisor, you could add your marketing manager if you've got a contractor or whatever. All you have to do is create that, and you can decide what kind of access they have. So maybe you say, well, look, I'm not going to give them access to everything. I'm just going to give them access to my business profile, and you can choose which privileges they have and don't have. Once you have their email address, you just let them know. I think they have 72 hours to accept that invitation, and then it will go. It will expire. So ideally, you can have 2, 3, 4 people if you really want on your business account. If you don't feel you'll have the time to make the best use of it, so if you kind of feel, look, I want to review things, but I'm happy for other people to do my events, to do my offers, to do my notifications, etc. So speaking of offers, that page isn't working. That's not good. Okay, didn't like that. Let's try events. Cool, we'll do events first. I'm not sure what's going on with offers. So obviously you can add, if you have regular events, if you have one-off events, it doesn't really matter. You can, and let's just say we have a tasting evening or something like that. So we add the title in, great selection. Obviously you add lots of information, hopefully. Great selection of pizzas tonight. The venue name, it might be your business, it might not be your business. So we'll choose pizza. Let's just say, no, I can't find, it doesn't matter anyway. Let's just say it's this one. The type of event, and this is going to be quite relevant, because when we get people to sign up, we ask them what they're interested in. So if they are interested in the type of event, then it's going to be fed to them more prominently, and there's a better chance of the users finding stuff that they're interested in. In this case, let's just say it is a food and drink event. So anyone who's registered to be interested in food and drink is now going to find it, and anyone who's not, it might not find it. So we'll add an image. We'll assume that's one, and let's say it starts on Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. It's going to end at 8 p.m. If that's a one-off event, that's fine. You leave it at that and you press submit. You can also add, of course, you can add more information if you have a website and you had a ticket purchasing. So that's, something to really stress. This is hopefully going to result in more ticket sales. So you can add the link to either your website, to your booking site, if there's a third-party site or whatever, get some additional ticket sales through that. As I was saying, if it's a repeat event or a multi-day event, we have this repeat event toggle. So let's say the same tasting evening is happening every week for the next 3 weeks. We're going to choose the frequency is weekly, and if it's this week plus 2 more, then we just do 2 more occurrences. When I go to submit that now, it's going to create 3 events in my events feed. So we'll do that. And as you can see now, we've got these 3 events coming up. So it's a bit of a handy shortcut. It's also useful if you have like a 3-day event. So we often get people saying, well, I can't do it from Friday evening through till Sunday evening, because the max amount of time that we allow people to do is 24 hours. And really what we would say to that is we see a 3-day event as 3 single 1-day events, because there's going to be a start time and an end time to each of the days. It's unlikely that you're going to be, open at midnight. So If it's a 3-day event, you create the Friday event and 2 repeat events for Saturday and Sunday with frequency daily, and it should create those events. Again, you got the tutorial here if you're not sure about anything. So we now have created these events. I'm going to try offers again and see if it's... so first, apologies, some reason offers isn't working. We'll get that fixed. The next bit then is notifications. We have, in this case, we have a certain amount of notifications which every business can send. We have to sort of define that. There's a few ways you can get information out to people. You can send it via an email, you can send it via an OS level alert, which means it'll pop up on a user's phone. So we've now created our event, but if we really want to make sure that everyone receives it, then we can send out this notification. So don't forget this great event. Check out the link. The media image will go out on emails. It won't go out on phone notifications. And we can then add some information. So if we want to add a website, we can add it here. If we want to include one of these events, let's say we want to include the one on the 8th of July, we could usually do an offer as well. So let's click on the next one. We then have to decide who are we sending this to. And because we don't want to spam people, we want to make sure it's going to be relevant to their interests. We have to, at the moment it's 1. I think we might do more than 1. We might do 2 or 3. But let's say we send it to every type of app user. You can be specific. You can say, well, actually, I don't want visitors. I don't want students or whatever. But let's assume we're sending it to everyone. At the moment, it's set to 1 interest. We might set it to 2 interests. So probably the most relevant is probably going to be, let's say, cuisine or fine. It's not fine dining. Maybe it's food and drink. So we're going to send it to anyone who has signed up for the app and has registered for food and drink, who falls into this category, will receive it. And now we have to decide the gender and age group. Unless you really feel strongly that it should be for one or the other, I would just select all. And again, unless you feel really strongly that you don't want under 18s, maybe if it's an alcohol-related event, then you choose the age brackets that you want, and then we select next. The final part of it is to decide when we're sending this notification. We're going to send it now, so it'll literally go straight away. And if you have your phone on you, it'll click up on your phone and you'll see this notification inviting you to this event. Or in this case, I'd say, well, the event itself isn't for another 2 weeks, so we might send it out a few days before, on the Saturday before, and we're going to do it at 10:10. We're going to save that. So that has now been scheduled. It's going to be within your targeted notifications, and you see the details of it here. And if you want to just go into it and have a look, you can click on the icon. The information you're going to send out, and you're going to, it's going to go out on the 4th of July at 10:10. So you can be strict about it. You can say, well, you know, I've got an event in 2 weeks' time. I'm going to send one now so that people know about it. I'm going to send one in a week's time to kind of encourage tickets, and I'm going to send one the day of the event to remind people, and hopefully then we maximize the ticket sales, or we maximize the footfall. The other way to send notifications is via location of the user. Again, tutorial here if you want. But the idea behind a geo alert is that we are geolocating every user, and if they have signed up for the app and have agreed to allow notifications, right there, and then when they walk through this bubble effectively, then their phone should ping and they should get this alert. So we're going to set one up. We're going to say cool event near you. It doesn't necessarily have to be an event. It could be an offer. It could be I've got cheap croissants on sale. I've got it's towards the end of the day. I'm selling off my stuff. Whatever you happen to think is relevant. It could be a survey. It could be a tour. Really anything that you want to connect with people for. So cool event on now. The radius then is how wide of a bubble we want to create on the high street. So let's say we're going to do 100, and this pin can be anywhere. It doesn't have to be outside your business. It can be at the train station or wherever you feel is most appropriate. We can attach an offer attach an event. Let's just say we're going to attach this event, and we can attach a website link if we want, and reposition the pin. Then we're going to decide who this is going to. Let's imagine we're sending it to students only. And again, we selected 2 interests here. So this time I'm going to go food and drink and days out. Gender, I'm only sending it to females for whatever reason. And I'm only sending it to 55 to 64. Now I'm going to submit it. And what you'll see is that there's a bubble now. And it's here between Canterbury and Littlebourne. And if you walk through that bubble and you fall within the demographics, you fall within the ages, etc., register for those interests, your phone will ping to say cool event near you. Each geo-alert will ping only once. So we don't want people going in and out of the city centre, for example, and every day their phone goes with the same notification. I think people get very bored with that. So as businesses, you can do more than one. So you can do one for a week and then do another one, or you can do one in one location, another in another location. Yeah, very effective, very relevant, especially if it's sort of time sensitive, or you really want to make use of where someone is to connect with them. I'm going to skip over forum because I can't remember if we've agreed to set it up. Rachel, are we doing forum? Just remind me.
No, not at the moment.
No, so that won't be available. That will be gone. And then analytics, we'll sort of have to see exactly what analytics are going to be available. But what we want is we want businesses to get a bit of sense for the users, the people who are on the platform. So we want them to know things like the busiest time when people are online, what their demographics are, what their age groups are, what their interests are, which is really fun to know. So when it's all up and running, these will be populated, and there'll be the ages, the genders, the interests, what different ages are interested in, and then how far away are they. So this is going to be interesting, especially with 3 separate locations and everything in between. So it'll be good to know where people are where they live, as well as where they are when they actually use the app as well. So there'll be a list of analytics. We'll have events, offers, engagement. The engagement will be good to know when the app is being used most. So we might find that, Friday afternoon between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock is the sweet spot, and you might say, well, that's when I'm going to send out my notification, because chances are that's when the most users are going to be on the app itself. We'll be able to see which notifications are popular, how many receive notification, what time is the busiest. There will be an FAQ section, so that will be just bits and pieces like support. So the basic information behind the platform, who's supporting it, where you go if you have any technical issues, that'll all be available in FAQs. That's it. Apologies, the offers doesn't seem to be, I don't know what's going on, but that will be available, don't worry. That will be where you can add your discounts. It can be where you add, it doesn't have to be a financial discount. It can be just an excuse to get users through the door. It could be, I've got a new coffee bean, I've got a new barista, I've got different toppings on my, it doesn't matter. Just whatever it takes just to get a bit of attention and get users or get residents in through the doors. Pretty much it. The rest is sort of the admin info, which is going to be applied to businesses. So yeah, as I said, with each of the sections there is a video. So if you're not sure about anything, just check out your video. And that's pretty much it. Anything else that you want me to cover, Rachel?
No, I think that's all good. Thank you, Barry. I would like to open it up for questions. And so if you'd like to raise your hand if you have any questions for Barry, we can manage that. The other thing I'd like to suggest, just before I go to questions, I see we are getting questions, is just to get a taste of what the app is like. I would recommend, if you go onto the App Store, these platforms exist in other places. So Barry has launched successful apps in Blackpool, in Nottingham, across London, and closest to home is Royal Tunbridge Wells. And I would highly recommend downloading the Royal Tunbridge Wells Together app, RTW Together, and have a play around with it just to get a feel for what the front end of the app is going to be like and what the users are going to experience. On there, you will find that not only do we have the business listings and the offers, but there's some more detail behind the area that you live in. So, for example, when you open the app, you'll see the weather today. You can access the train and bus times. There's a news feed which is updated constantly. They have trails, which means that us as admins, so for myself and for Joe, will be able to pull together some of the lovely trails that you already offer, so we can really promote various activities across the city. Barry, you used as an example with the football. I don't know if you could just explain that one to our businesses about World Cup. Yeah, being able to do a trail around the World Cup.
Yeah, like I guess in my idea, we would have 10, 20 different types of trails. So everything from local historical stuff, walking trails, to graffiti tours, just any excuse to get footfall. So there's two different types. One would be like a guide. Here's the defibrillator locations. Here's the best coffee shops. Here's our favorite things to do on a rainy day. But then for example, with walking tours, it could be stuff like competition based. We are doing a football one for the World Cup, which is Who Stole the World Cup in Norwood. It was actually stolen in 1966, if anyone knows that. So they're doing it based on that, and the kids have to actually. I have the suspect lineup documented. So there's 9 suspects, and the kids have to go. Sorry, apologies for the blur. The kids have to go around and go from shop to shop and mark off who is not a suspect. So the suspect doesn't have hair, the suspect wasn't holding anything, etc., etc. So it's kind of like a whodunit. So we have those options. We have voting options. So, for example, at Christmas, it might be favorite windows is one we've done a few times. We can do check-in trails. So you go from place to place and you check in everywhere. But yeah, like there's loads of different ways to use the technology, and really all we're trying to do is encourage people to get into the city centre, the town centre, and have a bit of fun as well.
And the other thing to be said about the offers, sorry, before I go to the questions, we will be using Canterbury Coast in a similar way to the My Canterbury local offers card. So if you already have a discount offer on with the card, we can very easily transfer that over to the new app as well. People can still use their pink cards to get that discount, but it would be great if we can move that over to the app so that people have a digital version as well. Right, so I'm opening up to questions. McDonald, you are first on my list. Would you like to unmute?
Hiya. I just had 2 questions actually. One, is there an age restriction for this app, either being able to download it or just use it? And when is this planning on being rolled out to the public?
Harry, I'll give you the first question and I can take the second.
Yeah, there's no age restriction currently. So what we generally give as general advice is like a little bit of common sense. Don't if you have an alcohol related event, don't be trying to push under 18s. Because we can't prove anything, because we can't prove someone's age, we don't restrict it, but we do monitor, and I'm sure the bid will monitor, and we make sure that the content is appropriate. What we do have is we have a profanity filter. So nobody can push any words, and there's a really long list of words that will get picked up, and the content will not be published if it contains any of those words.
And we have been considering whether the app might be useful actually for certainly for things like the back to school welcome, as we've been talking to various people involved in the back to school welcome about encouraging young people to discover some of the outreach centres and youth activities, and we could do that as a trail on the app. So it could be quite interesting to get a slightly younger demographic onto the app as well. In terms of the rollout, once we've got all the businesses signed up by the end of this week, we would hope to roll it out within a couple of weeks. So by early July, maybe second week of July, we want to get this live. We're going to put some competitions together to encourage people to sign up. We've had conversations with some of the businesses who'd like to put together a package which could be exclusive competition just for the app. And then we really want to push it from September. Obviously, we'll have the student return and it rolls into, you know, Halloween and Christmas, so we can put a lot of very interesting content and get as many people on there as possible. Does that cover everything for you, McDonald's?
Yeah, that's all good. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Over to Alan at Café Saint-Pierre.
There, sorry, I've never used Teams before. I was delayed getting in, so sorry if you answered any of these questions earlier. When you were in the account information, I noticed it says something about billing details. So my first question is, so I've got two questions. First one, is there a cost to it? And the second question is, are people or users able to message businesses through the app?
Okay, I can take the first one, which is no, it's completely free. It's being paid for by the bid. So the bid are covering membership to the app for all the businesses in the bid area. Canterbury City Council have covered the cost for the Whitstable and Herne Bay town centre businesses as well. So they've provided some additional funding for it so that we could extend it and widen the audience as well, because we do feel that people might be working in Canterbury but live in Whitstable, and you know their kids go to school in Herne Bay. There's a really good reason why we should have the whole of the district involved. So yeah, there's no cost involved at all for you. And what was the second question again?
Are people or users able to message through the app?
Yes,
direct
Barry?
to businesses?
No, they're not. They're able to call via the call link, but not a one-on-one message. No.
Sorry, what was that? They're able to call you through your like your number that you have on there?
Yeah, your telephone number.
Yeah. So yeah, like it'll be a link directly to your number, okay, if that's what you put on. Yeah.
My main reason for asking was I was just wondering if this app was something that we as businesses had to monitor on a certain daily basis to make sure that we were answering customers or anything like that. So that was my main reason for asking.
No, low maintenance for you.
Yeah, well, look, we want as much engagement as possible, of course. In due course, we the bid may decide to add in an e-commerce functionality to the app. They may or may not. Certainly not in the first phase, but in due course, if we start to add products and services so you can sell tickets and goods and products through the app, then of course that will trigger more interaction with users. But that's not going to happen certainly in phase one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Has anyone else got any questions for Barry? No? Okay. Well, in that case, I'm going to finish the session here. As mentioned before, we're hoping that everyone will receive their invitation by the end of the week, so that you can all start playing with the system and get as much information on there as possible. We will have another training session next Tuesday. It's exactly the same as this one, so you don't need to join twice, but if you want to mention it to any businesses that you happen to be chatting to, please encourage them to sign up so that we can get as many people trained up as possible. I also mentioned at the beginning of the call that both myself and Joe, my colleague, are going to be available for drop-in sessions, and our street team in Canterbury will be popping into businesses to make sure that they've activated their codes and they're using the system, and Debbie Green, who's on this call, will be representing Whitstable and supporting the businesses there, and Joe Wynn Carter over in Herne Bay. So there are plenty of us to support you if you have any questions. But really the most important thing is to get in there, give it a go, play around with it, and we'll see how it all goes from there. So thank you for your time this morning, and I will share this recording with you all after we've signed off. Thank you.